Hello, and welcome to our day 6 together. We are going to be diving into, I feel like, one of the most important lessons that I've had in a lifetime. All of the things, the building blocks up to this day, are equally as important because it helps you to have perception as to why this message is as profound as it is, but also how you can integrate it. Okay, today's on soul guidance and the importance of following your soul guidance in every single area of your life, not just when you're at church, not just when you feel like being faithful and spiritual. It isn't a fad, okay? Soul guidance is the thing that permeates every single part of your day, your night, your nap time, all of the things, okay? And when you understand that soul guidance is the thing, it's like the fiber, it's the breath of your life. It's the thing that guides you through each part of where you show up, how you show up, what you're doing when you show up. You will be led to places, to circumstances, to epiphanies, to synchronicities, to situations that you couldn't humanly fathom. And I say that with absolute conviction because who and what and where I am and what I'm going through in this moment, this day, this week, there's things that I don't even have words for. Certainly wouldn't have had the words or the concepts of them a year or 10 years ago. And when I look back a year from now, I will be able to, oh, that's what was happening. But this is the process of soul guidance. Your soul guidance, if you stay faithful to listening up, all right, because you're either following soul guidance or you're following your ego. And your ego is your alter ego. It's the other part of yourself. It's the thing that makes you human. And when you follow that, you will tend to be very limited. You'll be constricted. You'll be confined into what your ego defines as safe and secure, and it serves a purpose. However, it doesn't serve a purpose for the soul. It limits the soul. The soul is limitless. There's no such thing as time, as space. And if you knew that you were here in this lifetime for a very specific lesson or series of lessons to grow and integrate this soul into this human life, you would realize it's more of a soul guidance that will get you there than the ego. All right, the ego is the small, the shadow. It's the confined part of our being. And so know that soul guidance is the ultimate truth. It's the ultimate divinity. It's the communication of your higher self and God. All right. And then we live in this human world that not everybody is around you is in flow with their soul. So here you can also sometimes feel as a misfit. You can feel as an outsider. You don't know who to look to or where to go. But this again is another means of surrendering when you're feeling lost, is allowing your soul to guide you, not asking, what should I do? What should I do? Reading the book to figure out. You are actually allowing the soul to guide you. All right. The surrendering process is the thing that you'll continue to do again. If you are going to be living a spiritual practice, if you are going to be living an abundant life, a universe has your back, fully God-led life, where you'll be taken places, like I said, that are extreme and magnificent, it'll also be the most challenging thing for you. It is not all stars and rainbows. You're going to have you're going to have friendships that fall away. You're going to have careers that change. And in the midst of it, sometimes you can think, what the is happening to me? But things have to break and fall away in order for new growth to come. It's the way it works. And you will not ever be led astray. This is what lesson number 1 is about, is building a foundation of trust. You will have to trust that your soul will not guide you down a path that is not part of your greatest fulfillment of your soul's purpose, of your greatest desires of happiness and bliss and joy. When you concrete in what you are certain, right? Certainty is important. When you are certain that you want, you're certain of your desires, and your soul, your higher self, is so faithful that when you are faithful to following its guidance, that's the only way you can get there. The ego is limited. You as a human are limited. You don't have the perceptions on how you would get there. And when you think, geez, I don't know about this, this is where you have to surrender that fear or that questioning again, yet again and again. And as soon as you think life is going just great and you got shit figured out, it's where you need to surrender that again. Because what'll happen is you will have this smack of reality, which the reality is you are here for a soul purpose. Did you just see that orb? So this is the ultimate surrendering, is the soul guidance in all areas. And when you're, it's easy to say, oh yeah, I'm following it. I'm following my soul, right? I am doing the things that my soul's guiding me to do. And then something happens that makes you question everything you've just done. Am I doing the right thing? Oh my gosh, do I have a tumor growing? This is so silly. Why am I having these big dreams? Why am I doing this? Nobody else is doing this. Why can't I just be happy in this miserable relationship? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. This job isn't that bad. I should be lucky. There's people who don't have a job. I should be lucky. And you start backpedaling, right? Your soul is trying to guide you to greatness. Your soul is trying to guide you into the areas of your life that are magnificent and they're rightly yours. They're there, right there. And if your ego gets in there, it'll start diluting and polluting. And the surrendering has to happen right away in that moment as you remember, no. I don't know what's happening. And this isn't about me belittling myself or belittling. You don't cheat on your desire, right? Allow your soul to lead you. And in those moments where there's real crumbling and you start getting worry or fear trickling in, this is when you do what you need to do to break that energy up. Just before I started filming this, I can just feel my body is doing some sort of transformation, as some sort of metamorphosis. I have been calling on all of the things to start clearing out a lot of old lineage, a lot of old baggage, a lot of old stuff. So I know that my soul is, my body, my human self is trying to conceptualize what's going on. And I could easily say there's something wrong. I'm sick. I blah, 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 blah. But my soul is saying, no, be faithful. Allow this process to, redefine you. Allow this process to give you time to integrate. Allow this process, give your body time to heal, give your body time to go through this. You are being guided. All of these things that I could choose to ignore. And when you follow the soul guidance, you will be led with different tools that you can come back to remind yourself, okay? The reason I believe that this is the most terrifying thing is having complete soul guidance is because you are relinquishing control. And control is an illusion anyway. You really don't have control, right? You can say you have control over getting up in the morning and all the things that are going to happen, and you're going to go to bed at this time. But there are 1,000,001 things that can happen to change that, right? And you've learned to either be very flexible in life, and ultimately you wake up and you know you're going to go to bed and things can change, or if you control every little thing, you start having a little hissy fit. Do you know anybody like that? Or are there parts of yourself that are like that? It didn't turn out the way you thought it would, and you're left with disappointment or whatever because you were so sure of the end result. Well, know what end result you desire, but be flexible on how it's going to show up, because soul guidance is and could possibly bring you on a complete detour to get to the same and greater point. So when you relinquish control, this is going to be one of the most challenging things that I can articulate, because the ego needs control. And that's the fight. And the fight will get easier the more you just, okay, whatever. Like, I understand, ego, you need control over this, but I am allowing in a power greater than either one of us to come in and take care of the situation, this circumstance, and maybe you need to take a nap, right? Maybe you need to just sit this one out and just give yourself a little time so the soul can do its work. But the worst thing that you could do is get right back in the car and say, no, I'm taking over this one. So relinquishing the control is a surrendering process. I surrender control over this. I surrender how it's going to show up. So you make your wish list, know what you want to do, and then let go of all of the strings attached to it. Know what your desires are, and then let go of any strings attached to it. So if you're in a challenging situation, if you can come back to the emotion, all right, within your heart center, if you can come back to the emotion that you desire most, and you can feel that desire in your body, this is the place where you can actually tie your emotion in with your intention. And this is important, okay? Because you can actually start reprogramming the body and the brain by calling in your emotion, almost imagining the emotion, the vibration of what you want to feel, feeling it in your heart center, and showing up for that every single day without end. And when you come back to this process, it's a refining and redefining process, and the soul can work with that, all right? Versus, here's what else can happen, is you go into worry and fear and anxiety day after day after day because you're trying to control a situation that you have no control over, all right? You know that doesn't get you anywhere. You've been there, right? You've done it again and again. And here's you showing up for this 10-day series. You're showing up to want to know, how can I relinquish this? How can I find more purpose or passion or vision or joy or prosperity or whatever it is that are all of your desires. But you gotta surrender the things you've been doing, because the worry and the fear and the strife and the concern and the self-sabotage and and not trusting yourself, not trusting that God is gonna bring you through. You think you know the way because you watched your mom and dad do it, or you watched somebody else do it, or that person over there is doing it, or you got a coach that's telling you how to do it. But your soul isn't even part of your posse. Right? If your soul guidance isn't the leader in the process, you're just taking any other person's interpretation or experience and trying to make it your own. It's not meant to be your own. It's meant to be theirs, right? So this is where I think some coaches and mentors and teachers and, your personal experiences, or your parents, your friends, or social media, you see this really inspiring individual and you want to be them. Well, I'm sorry, honey, you can't be them. You are you. And the closer you get to loving that part of you, that creative part of you, that genius part of you, and you start posseing up with the soul guidance, now you get to be the unique you in such an amazing way that the planet is greater, because you are just concrete. You are in your soul message. You are doing your thing. So soul guidance is the thing that permeates every single part of your life. If you want your soul to guide you on what you're going to do for breakfast, you want your soul to guide you on how you're going to move your body and exercise for the day, you want your soul to guide you on what type of meditation you're going to do, or if you should sleep on one side of the bed or the other, it can be all of the things, right? The closer and greater that relationship grows is going to be the closer and greater you are going to feel confident in the direction you're moving in. Okay, so it's not like a one-step process. There is multiple facets of your being, of your experience, of your perception that need to be addressed. So if we go back to day one, if you don't trust yourself, if you don't develop a relationship with yourself that you can trust, that you can make the right decisions, you develop a relationship with spirit enough to know that you are here on perfect order. If without that foundation, soul guidance isn't going to make sense, because you're not going to trust your freaking self to make a decision. This is why you start looking all around you for these decisions. You start looking, oh, that didn't work, I need to find another. You're this constant seeker of knowledge, when you want to come here and trust that, no, I do know what's best for me. Soul, guide me to what that is. I know it's in me. I know you will show me the way, right? And, certainty is knowing this is what I want. This is my greatest heart's desire. And when I'm doing this, I am able to amplify the joy in the world. It is my birthright to be happy, and this makes me really effing happy, and that's enough. Being certain that that's enough and being certain that it's yours is going to be really important, so the soul can guide you to how you will integrate that into your life. The thing is it's already, it's gonna be a little bit out there. It's already yours. You've just got to find your way back to it. It's already yours. All of the desires are already yours. You've just got to allow your soul to guide you back to, it's like a reunion. It's like a puzzle with a missing piece, and you're here to connect them back together. Self-belief. You got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in your joys and your passions and the things that make you uniquely you. And in your creative muse, you're going to be able to get to know and feel confident in that sacred, unique part of yourself. You are led to the desires that serve your core message. So here that core message comes back up because it's a fabric of your DNA. It's a fabric of the essence of who you are. It's that core truth of why you exist. What are you certain of in your life? Strip away all the labels, all of the things, and coming back to that. And if you're still wondering and you're like, I'm not super confident, but I have an idea, or maybe, yes, that's probably it. Don't question it, right? And allow your soul to guide you into, how can I fluff this up a little more? How can I feel, make some substance out of this story? And you will be guided. But it's surrendering when and how the time is to do that, and just doing it every day like it's your job. Soul guidance is the wisdom you crave. It really is. It's the knowingness. It's the certainty that you crave, that you're wondering if you have. And it won't force its way in. Never, ever, ever will spirit force itself upon you. God, your angels, guides, the universe will never force itself upon you. It just exists, right? And there's nothing wrong with taking your pick in the whole scheme of things, taking what's yours. That's no different than these, trees in my backyard or wildlife. Watch it in nature. Does wildlife feel bad about breathing in the oxygen or taking in the water so it can grow and provide for, its family or its offspring, or it's, a pine tree shedding its pine cones? Do I feel bad for giving birth to 1 million pine cones? No, because the planet is thriving as trees and animals procreate. Human beings thrive when trees and animals procreate. And when human beings are thriving, we're in joy. And when we're giving back to other humans and the planet and animals and trees, it's all this big cyclical thing. So take care of your home here, your temple. Take care of your home on planet Earth, because she is your home. And it's all this beautiful life-giving cycle that you are infinitely a part of. You are provided for, and your soul wants to guide you through that unique perception yourself. So the wisdom that you crave is the knowingness, but it only comes with allowing, never forcing. You have to allow this in. You have to invite this in. You might have to invite this in every single day. Every single time you have a controlling thought or action or word you want to invite in spirit to take over. I forgive this thought. Here I am trying to control again. I forgive this inner guide. Please show me a greater way. How can I let you come into my experience more than anything else, right? And so just know that when you're squeezing, when you feel yourself holding too tightly, it can't fully enter. There's no room in there. It's that expansion of yourself. It's that expansion of the surrender. As soon as you surrendered, surrender some more, right? And that is where you invite in that soul essence, that truth essence, that energy into your experience. This body is not meant to hold all of the things, which is why you have this energetic bubble that goes out forever, right? Is because you can invite in this whole essence in and around you, even when you physically might feel full. Ask spirit to help empty some of that baggage out, right? Do a cleanse. Do the things that help you to clear out old shit so you can have new life, new energy, the new sense of yourself enter in. And when you feel blocked, when you feel stuck, when you feel like you're too freaking crabby or limited to even be able to let in a positive thought or let in a positive intention, move your body, please. Move your body in a way that just shakes it loose. It rattles it loose. It allows energy to shift, right? You can move your body with breath work. So go and, look at some yogic breath work, some chanting, dancing. Moving your body through dance work is just incredible. Yoga, many people find yoga extremely, stretching isn't even a good word because that implies just the muscles, but it just allows your entire energetic self to expand. So there's a lot of ways that you can let loose some of the negative energy just by moving your body in a different way. And breathing is moving your body, believe it or not. So find a sacred dance, find a sacred way when you're feeling rigid and stuck that you can just get it out of you, right? Following soul guidance in all areas of your life. Now I want to touch on that because oftentimes we only think of God or asking for help when. When do you think of that? Usually I find it's when you want something. That's when it becomes real evident. When you can't get something, you want it, you're going to ask for guidance. Well, what about in the areas where you're not sure what you want? You're just existing. You don't want soul guidance then. Or what about it's in your relationships and you're super sure that it's your partner or your friend or your coworker's problem, and it has nothing to do with your soul work. It has nothing to do with you. You're completely disconnected because it's all about them. And if they would only do their work, then it would be better, right? Well, that would be just great if you could control those areas of your life as well. Or maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's a past experience in your family that you're still hung up on, and that is affecting you. Well, Spirit wants to invade all areas of your life. And that is the lesson that those experiences have given you, is you have a perception that it's ready to be healed. You have a perception that's limiting you from realizing the potential of that experience, of that relationship, of how it can be healed. And soul guidance wants to enter in and show you a different way. It's not about them. It's still about you. And that's a hard pill to swallow, is when you are so certain it's the a-hole on the other side of the table and it's not you, but it's your perception in most cases that is skewing what you are actually able to see. It's the thing that keeps you separate from them. It's the thing that keeps you separate from loving them and being grateful for the lesson, right? You're still separate from the ultimate truth. And so this is not including abusive relationships. This is not including people that are actually physically, emotionally, mentally, sexually abusing another. That is an emergency, and you need to protect yourself and remove yourself. That is not the same. The lesson in that point might be knowing where your boundaries are and protecting your freaking self or your children, right? You get out of it. That is not what I'm saying here. In a normal circumstance where you just want to be right, you're sure that your way is the right way. You're sure that that person is just being stubborn, it's being one-sided or unforgiving or just being mean or whatever. There's probably a part of yourself in that situation that you're not seeing, that Spirit wants to enter in and help you clean up so you can see, oh wow, there is another way to look at this. But in that moment, in that certainness that the ego has that you are right and they're not, that is the separateness I'm talking about. And in the eyes of God, there is no separateness. In the eyes of the ego, there is, right? That's the shadow. So part of your path is finding all areas of your life where you can have soul guidance. And this is a process. This is a process that gets restarted every single day if needed. Does it get easier? Yes. It's like forming a good habit. It does get easier, but you're going to want to stay faithful to it. You're going to want to stay committed to your desires. You're going to want to stay committed to your spiritual practice, because that is the thing that will serve you the greatest. There's not another relationship in this life that you'll have that is more important than the one you have with spirit, the one you have with your higher self, the one you have with God. So some activities, some assignments that you can take in for this is, what are some areas in your life that stand out right away that you can ask for more soul guidance in? These might be the areas where you're tripping up a lot, right? The obvious areas where it's like, I need some help. How can your soul guidance help you to show up differently in that circumstance? Ask the important questions. Be humble enough to know you are a part of the equation, right? It's not just that person, and that's why it equals this undesirable result. You are a part of the equation that creates the undesirable result. So take accountability for yourself. And then what else you can do is, how can you start integrating soul guidance into the areas of your life that you have gratitude for, right? If you want to amplify that gratitude, how can you amplify that gratitude? Where can you bring in the soul to help you to find more gratitude where it's waning? I'm really, really good at assessing and constantly seeing where there can be improvements in my life, in other people's lives, my children's lives. And I find that I can come across, I want to admit this, I find that I can come across as a little bit nagging, to put it nicely. And that is not my goal, is to be a nag or to point out all of the things that could be improved upon. And so I just this morning asked my higher guidance system, can you guide me to how I can be more positive in showing up in the things that are commendable, right? Positive reinforcement for my family, my people I work with, for my husband, for myself, right? Are you giving yourself some positive feedback? And where I ever learned that positive feedback wasn't good or wasn't needed, I don't know, but that's a part that I'm still healing, for example. So yeah, and then anything else that comes up in regards to soul guidance. What does soul guidance look to you? Maybe you want to define that. Maybe you want to tune in and write actually a contract out with your angels, your guides, and say, this is what soul guidance looks like to me. And you actually write out a contract that says, this is what I'm needing, and I'm open to anything greater, right? Show me and lead me and guide me. And then what are the things you need to surrender? Be really aware of the things that hold you back, because when you're aware of the things that keep you small, you're able to liberate yourself and recognize them when they pop up. And that's an important thing, all right, is knowing the strongest person knows what their weaknesses are. So when the weaknesses pop up, you can ask for help, you can call on soul guidance, but the weaknesses aren't your demise. You find ways to keep yourself strong despite them. So thank you for joining in today, and day 7 we'll be tuning into deepening the faith versus fear, worry.